So it's about time to get started with our webinar this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be doing a webinar from Business Direct Marketing this morning entitled Grow Your Business in 2012 with Cross-Media and Social Media Marketing. You should hear us now. If for some reason you can't, please reference the phone number on the screen and we'll be able to help you get started with the presentation so that you can both see and hear us. Our speakers this morning are going to be Lisa Jones, the President of Business Direct Marketing. She'll be talking to us about the cross-media component of the presentation. And Marjorie Asturias is a social media expert, and she'll be speaking with us about social media aspects. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. Please reserve your questions for the end. We have allotted some time for a Q&A. So if you would just jot those down so that you can remember them for the end of the presentation, that would be great. You'll notice at the right hand of the screen that all the phone lines are muted during the presentation, but at the end during the Q&A, you'll have the opportunity to either type in a question in the chat feature, or you may also, if you see a section where you can raise your hand, we'll unmute your line, and hopefully you'll be able to voice your question to us. And I did want to mention that Business Direct Marketing is hosting a $10,000 giveaway right now. You've probably seen some material about that. It's a $10,000 cross-media marketing program to celebrate our new website, bdmhvac.com. The deadline to enter is February 15th, and the good news is that if you're on this call, you've been entered to win the drawing. If there's anyone else you know in this industry that might want to participate, just give them a heads up that they've got just a few more weeks to enter. Otherwise, keep your eye on your email to see if you're the winner of the grand prize. And with that, I will turn it over to Lisa Jones to talk about some cross-media marketing.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we're going to be sharing a couple of case studies that we feel will be valuable to you, talking about cross-media marketing, and later in the presentation talking on social media and how you can utilize some of these aspects into your 2012 marketing plans to help grow your business. And everything in marketing is more and more related into technology. And as Alan Kay stated, technology is whatever didn't exist when you were born. It's changing so rapidly in the way that in the world that we live in today. And as we see, our consumers live in a self-service world. In the past, marketing was about targeting valid prospects and sending out mass TV campaigns, mass mailings, and delivering the message to the mass. Marketing and media has made such a major shift in that people today would rather go online, find out information about you, your company, do research about your business before they select, and based on who they're going to do business with, what they find online. So it's so much more important than ever before to stay connected with these consumers, whether they're on their phone, on their computer, or reading conventional, traditional marketing messages. We're living in such a fast-paced world today where consumers they're in a hurry, they're working harder than ever before, multitasking, they're looking for information. They just want to be able to click and go. They also want to make sure that they are in control of the information that's provided to them and be able to search for information on their timeline. We're seeing that so much has changed in all aspects and all industries. Home buyers today, where you used to get out and drive around the neighborhood and look for a home, what happens first now is consumers go online. 80% of them will tour a home online, do all the research before they even begin to purchase. Stocks, the same thing is happening now with stocks. 1/3 of stocks are sold online, and 44% of Americans are now banking online. They make their deposits online, they transfer money online, they pay their bills online. And 150 million travelers today first seek, instead of calling a travel agency, they go online, they buy their plane tickets, they rent their cars, they even look for travel packages. So everything is changing from the shopping environment. But one thing that is a constant, as Carrie Fisher shares with us, that we're seeing is instant gratification with consumers just takes too long. There's a sense of urgency to do everything faster and quicker. So what do? We buy our gas at the gas station and eat our lunch in the car. We end up taking pictures on our cell phones, video on our cell phones, we text on our cell phones, we get our email, our voicemail, we even watch movies on our cell phones. We go to the grocery store, instead of just shopping for groceries, we can shop for groceries, do our banking, even do our pharmacy at a lot of groceries, and even some grocery stores have gas stations. So we are trying to be as efficient as possible and multitasking, not only at work, but we're multitasking at home. As you can see from this bottle of Windex, that they've even made a brand of Windex called Multitask. So it will clean multiple things all at one time. So how are we going to serve these time-starved consumers that are on the go and are so much more mobile-based consumers? We've got to reach and look at new ways to be able to communicate with them. Consumers are wanting to communicate online, and increasingly that means reaching them on their mobile phones. In this revolutionary shift, many experts believe it's going to have more impact than the radio, the TV, the personal computer, all of those combined. 65.8 million people today have a smartphone, and that was, well, actually, that was a year ago. In January 2011, the statistics were 65 million people had a smartphone. And you can only imagine how large that trend is going to be growing, especially now, in addition with the popularity of the iPads and the tablets. The traditional marketing channels that we've known and been so accustomed to, such as the Yellow Pages and the newspapers, are declining more and more as consumers are turning more and more to technology. Take a look at the statistics on the Yellow Pages. It's projected to decrease over 40% over the next 4 years, and it's already had a dramatic decrease. Newspaper circulation, if you notice when you go out on Sunday and pick up your newspaper, it continues to get smaller and smaller. Figures show a 10% decline from 2008 to 2009, another 8.7% in 2010, and that's only going to continue. So what do? How do we learn? We have to figure out how to communicate with the consumers and be able to communicate with them their way. And their way is continuing now, not only the cell phone, but in tablets. Tablets had projected growth is 63 million units. And from 2010 to 2011, there was over a 264% increase in these tablets. So in the past, where you saw in airports people popping up their laptops or in lobbies while they're waiting in different places, now they're pulling out their iPads, and they're essentially like a larger cell phone that's in their hand. And this is going to be dramatically increasing as well. So we must build digital relationships with these consumers and be able to serve those time-starved consumers in multiple ways and marketing to them in cross-media applications. So it all starts with search, right? We've got to have an online presence. We've got to be there for those consumers, as 57% of the Internet users search the web every single day for something. 46% of them search for a product or information. But what is so interesting about the searches that we're seeing on Google is 20% of the everyday searches are looking for local businesses just like yours. They have a need, they need service, they need repair. Instead of turning to the Yellow Pages or the phone book as they once did, or even looking in the newspaper, the first thing that they do is they jump on Google and they're going to look for a heating and cooling company. Take a look at these research-related studies on Google that are directly HVAC-related searches. And there's a couple of different keywords that are put in, and these are the top leading keywords across the United States. So air conditioning repair, right at 3 million searches, 3 million people needing air conditioning repair. Another word that they put in was just air conditioner repair. There's 2.5 million of those. And the list goes on and on and on. As you can see, heating and air conditioning, 5 million searches. And so you can see that consumers are going online. They're looking for your company. They're looking for someone. And when they're looking for a repair, you know that that unit is going to either be going out or there's some issues. So there's a lot of opportunity for you. So we've got to think more and more like today's consumer, and we've got to figure out ways that we can solve their problems. And so I want to talk to you a little bit more about cross-media marketing. What does that mean? What are the components of it, and how can you utilize it with your business? One thing we can be for certain of with today's time-starved consumers is we can't predict which door they're going to come through, how they're going to contact your business. So we want to make sure we're going to open up all the possibilities for them, whether it's on their phone, on their computer, or just picking up the telephone and giving you a call. And so we've seen with a well-executed cross-media marketing campaign that you can see a generated sales lift of 7 to 34% over traditional marketing. And by a traditional campaign, we're talking about a single element direct mail campaign only that allows the consumer to reach you by picking up the telephone or going to your web address. Cross-media components, we're going to take a little bit closer look at these individual components. And on the screen you'll see is a funny little black box, which is called a QR code. And what the QR code is basically is a barcode that can be scanned by a smartphone that can capture a lot of information, and it will redirect that consumer to either a website, a coupon, a microsite, or anywhere on the web that you want them to go. The most popular reason that people are scanning QR codes today is normally to get some kind of promotional offer. And you'll see these in the grocery stores, you'll see them in restaurants, on tabletops. It's allowing you an opportunity to get into their hands, into their cell phone, so the next time they need to contact you, you're right there handy for them. QR codes in the mobile phone just go hand in hand. 70% of the people who use mobile phones go online to do a search. And the research studies are showing that they are going to take action on that search with 1 hour. So this means that if they're picking up their mobile phones to look for you and search for you, they are ready to act. And so it pays to have ways for the consumers to reach you accessibly through their mobile phone. We'll take a look at the screen here. Our next element of cross-media campaigns is, you can see on this direct mail card, on this bar, let me go back one slide here. On this particular bar right here is the consumer's name and a web address. And so with the power of personalization, research studies shows that if you see your name in print, you're 2 to 3 times more apt to stop and look and read. And so on this particular piece, you can see the web address, which is going to take them to a microsite to learn more about your company. And a personalized URL is basically a URL address with a consumer's name attached to it, so when they log on, they're going to see the relevancy of their name and their information. SMS is another component of cross-media marketing you're seeing a lot of, which basically is short for text messaging as we know it. And you can take a look at this card. This was a card for a service offering, to where the consumers text in a certain number or a certain word. And you can utilize these in great ways to say the first 25 people that text in this message are going to get an extra $25 off your next service call. So this allows you to have the consumers are now opting in to receive messaging for you. It's a great tool to utilize some new forms of medium to communicate with the consumers. Marjorie?
Thanks, Lisa. So what I'm going to be doing, as Lisa mentioned, is to talk very briefly about social media. I think most people on the call are pretty familiar with social media, if not actively engaging in it already. But we're going to drill down specifically into using social media for your business and growing your business using social media tools. So let me start with defining what social media is. Essentially, as Lisa had asked the question earlier, or rather had posited the position earlier, that you need to communicate to your customers their way, whether it's using mobile or email marketing. So you want to ask yourself, how do you communicate their way? How do you think like a customer? The best way to do that is right at your fingertips, right at your computer right now, and that is through social media. You can listen in on their conversations, oftentimes in real time, so you can find out what they're thinking about, what their needs are. Essentially, social media represents a whole universe of online tools and platforms that people use to share opinions, insights, experiences, and perspectives with each other. And it's a great way to build a community either around this particular interest or even around a company, as you'll see in a later example. Social media is, at its essence, is built on user-generated content, meaning it's not content created by gatekeepers like newspaper editors or broadcast journalists or broadcast TV networks or CNN. It's content created by you or me or anyone with access to the internet with a computer, and if you have a good working audio set, you can even make a podcast, you can have your own radio show, you can make video. Whatever forms of media you might fancy, chances are there's a social medium for you, and the same goes for everyone else. So it's an excellent way for your audience to speak to you, but also a great way for you to speak to your audience in a very cost-effective way. Most of you are familiar with the major social networking sites. These are some of them. You know the logos. You might already have them open in your window right now. So there's Facebook, there's Flickr, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. A lot of you are probably on LinkedIn. A new kid on the block, relatively speaking, is Pinterest, and it's gotten a lot of press lately because it's essentially doubled in traffic every week since it was launched a few months ago. But it's essentially a graphic-oriented social media site where you can quote-unquote pin different graphics, pictures or video onto a bulletin board that the user manages, and so you could find out what their interests are, everything from their upcoming wedding to contractors that they love, businesses that they support, not organizations they support. So again, it's a great way to find out what your target audience is looking for when they go online. So who should do social media? You're wondering, okay, well, I know all of that stuff, and I'm probably on Facebook right now, but in terms of my business, should I be doing social media? Well, if you provide a service, create a product, or sell anything that people need, then you need to participate in social media. A few years ago, most social media consultants said, well, you know, there are certain situations where you might not need social media, but now in 2012, That's where most of your customers, if not all your customers, are hanging out, even at work, after work, on the weekends. So you need to be there because that's where your customers are. So let me go through very quickly, the major social media networks. I mean, Facebook is all over the news this week because of their impending IPO. So most of you know what Facebook is, but the numbers are still worth mentioning because it's absolutely staggering. Over 800 million active users, closing in on 1 billion. Half of those users are logged in on any given day. The average user is connected to 80 community pages, groups, and events. That includes business pages. Business Direct Marketing has a business page. You need to have a business page as well. It's a great way to gather testimonials and information from your clients and prospects. Over 350 million of those users, of those active users, access it through a mobile device. So again, there's that interaction between social, cross-media, mobile marketing that we need to take advantage of in order to reach people where they are and communicate the way they communicate. The next one is Twitter. There are over 300 million users on Twitter, about 5 billion tweets per month. Some of you may not be familiar with Twitter. Obviously it's not as big as Facebook, but there's a great audience on there just waiting to be tapped. One of the great benefits of Twitter is that it's a little bit more public and a little bit more open than Facebook is. It's much easier to find people to communicate and to chat with on Twitter than it is on Facebook. Facebook is a little bit more of a closed ecosystem, but on Twitter, if just seeking a keyword can give you thousands and thousands of people who might be speaking about, for example, HVAC. Lisa mentioned earlier about the millions of searches that people are doing every single month for HVAC dealers, HVAC contractors, air conditioning repair, and so forth. Twitter has its own little search engine, so if you want to know if anyone's talking about search engine or air conditioning repair in your own community, in your own city, you can actually drill down by geography on Twitter. So again, another useful network, social network for business purposes, for marketing purposes. And LinkedIn. Most of you, again, are probably familiar with LinkedIn, not as big as Facebook or Twitter, but still has a very useful place in the social network universe. It's essentially a professionally oriented social networking site where people go to post their professional presence, communicate with their peers, with their colleagues, with their coworkers, industry colleagues, and there are over 135 million users. Most of the users are actually overseas, but it's growing significantly here in the United States, primarily because people are starting to recognize that LinkedIn is a great way to, separate your personal social networking like you would do on Facebook and Twitter and create a professional beachhead on the internet where prospective employers or clients can find out more about your professional life. So if you haven't already created a presence on LinkedIn, then I'd strongly recommend you do so. Again, because they have a great search engine site, and because the prospects that you're looking at, the ones who are probably who have professional incomes, professional level incomes, very busy white-collar workers, they're going to be found on LinkedIn, and there are many, many great HVAC resources, not just industry resources, but also customers talking about HVAC industry on LinkedIn. So again, another great social networking site to participate in. And lastly, a lot of people don't think of blogs as being a social media, but it's actually the granddaddy of all social media. It goes back to that whole idea of social media as being user-generated content, and there's nothing more user-generated than blogs. Started out as primarily people sharing their thoughts and ideas on this online journal, and now it's exploded. There are hundreds of millions of blogs in existence now, people talking about everything from aviation to zoology. One of the best things, one of the primary reasons that people create blogs and why you should consider creating a blog, not only because it's a great way to, again, it's another great way to extend your reach online, but also because it's very search engine friendly. And in 2012, what you want is something that's search engine friendly, so that when people type in HVAC repair Dallas, HVAC repair Miami, HVAC repair Madison, Wisconsin, air conditioning repair Dallas, your site will come up. And one of the best ways you can do that is to create a blog. Why? Because search engines, whether it's Google, Yahoo, or Bing, search engines love blogs. It offers fresh, updated content. It's text-based. Most of it is text-based, which makes it very easy for search engines to what they call crawling your site to find out what your site's about. And when it pops up with those keywords that you want to target, like air conditioning repair or HVAC repair, Google is going to go, oh, wow, well this blog right here is about search and about air conditioning repair. Well, so we're going to index it on our search engine results so that when people are looking for that, they're going to pop up on the search engine result on Google. So it makes your site sticky. It's meaning that having a blog that has fresh, updated content keeps people coming back and staying around. You can do all kinds of things with your blogs. A lot of people, when they create a blog, think, well, what am I going to write about, especially if it's a business? Lots of things. You can do case studies. You can do testimonials. You can offer customer profiles. You can do company news. If you bring on a new technician, if you bring on a new office manager, great place to announce it is with a blog. It's also a great hub for all of your social media communities, so that if you think of your blog as being the hub, as being the center of your marketing channel online, you can use LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and any other digital marketing tools to drive traffic back to your blog and therefore drive traffic back to your website. So how do you get started on integrating social media with the rest of your marketing campaign? Well, the first thing you should do is to remember that social media is an integral part of your company's modern digital marketing campaign. When you talk about cross-media, definitely consider social media. It's not something that should ever be siloed. I mean, that's how you initiate your relationship with your target audience. You started out with email newsletters and postcard marketing campaigns, but you drill down even further, maintaining the conversations and connect and interact with your target audience using social media. It's also a great place to hold customer service, to offer your customer service. Because people are usually, a lot of them are on Facebook many minutes of the day. The average Facebook user is on 45 minutes a day. So you want to be there in front of them. So you want to make sure that when people find you, they can find you everywhere. So social media is a great way to expand your digital footprint. The more active you are on it, the more likely you are going to show up when people are looking for you. So here's the meaty part of this presentation. So a lot of you know, okay, I know about Facebook, I know about Twitter. Well, tell me how I can do this. I've got a few examples of companies that are doing social media really well in the service industry space. So I'm going to offer some examples and also provide you some clues and some tips on how you could do the same thing for your site. The first one here is Milestone Electric. It's an electrician company here in the DFW, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they do a phenomenal job with their social media. Not only is it integrated, but it's very popular. As you can see, they have, as of last week, they had 7,431 likes. Looked at it again the other day. They keep getting more likes. So this is a very popular place for people to hang out. And it's an electrician company. Now, this isn't Starbucks. They've done a great job in making this particular part of their campaign sticky, shall we say. What they do is they use their wall for a bunch of things, obviously company announcements, but they also use it for customer testimonials. They have a blog. They host it on Tumblr, so it's a cheap, it's actually free. A Tumblr blog is free. What they do is they write very short, maybe 200-300 word blog posts. You can see at the front, the blog is called The Home Safety Experts, and they had their most recent post was an important home safety message. Very short, but they posted this several times on Facebook, and they're constantly putting their expertise out there and showcasing what they know, showcasing tips that they think their customers could use. They integrate all of their social media. Facebook, Twitter, they have a blog on Tumblr. They integrate all of that so that they cross-promote each other. Now, on the outside, they also have a robust television ad campaign. They have a radio campaign. They're in print. So, they've pretty much saturated much of the media market for electrician companies. But much of it goes back. They definitely make sure that social media is an integral part of it. They mention social media on all their commercials. So they make sure that when people think of Milestone Electric, they think of them as a sociable, an approachable. They answer all of their comments on Facebook very quickly within 24 hours. So they're very approachable. Again, it's another extension of their marketing campaign. their message is, we are the people who will be at your door when you need us. The next one is, it's kind of related. It's a company called Einstein Energy, also here in Dallas. They're an energy auditing company in Dallas-Fort Worth. If you notice, they have a pretty heavy Twitter following. Almost 12,000, just a little under 13,000 followers. Now you'll also notice that they have just a little under 13,000 Twitter users that they're following. So what that tells us is that they're doing what they're doing, how they're doing to grow their following, is they're going out and actively searching for people to follow. And what they're doing is, if you drill down further into who they're following, you'll see that they're following a lot of people here in the DFW area, not just companies, but also nonprofit organizations. They're following individual Twitterers. They're following government agencies. And what they're doing is they're making sure that they know that when people are in the DFW area, especially those who have a strong following on Twitter, they want to make sure they're in front of them. They want to make sure that when they send out tweets, it's going to be in front of those influencers on Twitter. So what they do is they research them. They want to know who's the most influential Twitterers. They've also optimized their profile. If you'll look on the description underneath their Twitter name, Einstein Energy, and I have a little arrow pointing to it a little bit on the left, they've optimized it for keywords. They've added the words energy auditing company, and they put in their location as well as their URL. So when people are searching on Twitter for energy auditing, or even in the energy, or even just energy, and especially if they attach the words Dallas or Fort Worth, it'll show up on the Twitter search engines. And they added their logo in place of the generic Twitter avatar. So, you know, those are basic things that you can do in order to, I mean, it does take a little bit of time and effort, but it pays off so much dividends in terms of getting your message out there in as many, many places as possible. And the last one is a company called Dallas Brick Repair. This is actually a YouTube channel that this company, this local masonry company, has created. This is actually not, I'm going to be honest with you, this is not the best example of a YouTube channel. However, in their defense, there aren't a whole lot out there, especially in the service space, that have gone to YouTube and optimized their presence there. And that's too bad, because it's the second largest search engine on the internet after Google. And guess who owns YouTube? Google. So you want to make sure that you optimize, you create a presence on YouTube, so that when people are searching again for those critical keywords in your industry, Google is going to think, oh, they've got a video. We're going to drive traffic to their YouTube channel, because Google loves video. One of the things that Dallas Brick Repair has done right is that they've optimized their description with keywords. So they put Dallas Brick Repair. That's the name of their channel. In their description, they have Dallas Brick Repair Services, and they have the name of the cities that they serve, as well as the URL to their website, so they can get people back to their website. If you notice, despite the fact that they only have one video, on their channel, they have had over 6,000 video views as of last week. So they're doing a pretty good job. What they've done in order to attract that traffic is a really, really easy way to get activity on your YouTube channel without actually without having to create a lot of video. And that's that they've responded to videos posted by other people on YouTube, on other people's accounts. They respond to it, especially if it's related to their industry, like masonry. And that shows up on their activity page. That shows up on Dallas Brick Repair's page. That very first video you see there is not actually done by Dallas Brick Repair, but because they made a comment on it, it's going to show up on their activity page. And so that keeps their activity page fresh, and it keeps it, it keeps it updated. And the most important thing when it comes to digital marketing is that you have to keep it fresh and updated in order for the search engines to keep coming back to your site and checking for new content. So now that you've gone through the quick and breezy summary of social media and how you can apply it to your business, probably the next thing you're going to ask is, well, okay, but does it really work? Yes, unequivocally yes. How do you know it works? Because I've seen it work on all these different electricians. We've seen it work on our clients. And we've seen it work on these different analytics tools. Most of you are familiar. Some of you, if you're not, you need to be familiar with Google Analytics, because that's the best way to find out if your digital marketing campaign is working. There are many, many tools out there that you can use to measure your social media efforts. And the granularity of it is becoming so sophisticated that it can actually measure the sentiment. You know, if a comment is positive or negative, and it can spit that information back to you. It can give you all kinds of information about the people who are talking about you, what they're talking about. So yes, it does work. In order for it to work, though, you have to make sure that you measure. You find out what you're going to measure, and then you measure it afterwards. So that's the quick and dirty summary of social media and how you can use it to apply to your business to grow your business. Back to you, Lisa.
Great. This is actually Susan. Thank you so much, Marjorie and Lisa, for that presentation. Want to give you a few next steps right before we open up for questions. And if you do have questions, you can start typing them into the chat or raising your hand. And while you're doing that, I wanted to remind you that our brand new website, bdmhvac.com, is up and running right now, and you can see all the programs that we have available. Everything from neighborhood marketing, which includes radius mail and yard signs and door hangers, kind of the more typical marketing tools that you might think of, zip code mailers, and all the way around to the cross-media components that we talked about today. And also want to let you know about some special offers that we have going. The first is 10% off your first order, and that's good through March 31st of this year. And today is the last day for a sale we've had going on, which is 20% off magnet door hangers, which is a really great item. You can leave door hangers. They have a kind of a business card magnet on it that you can take off, and the consumer can put it on the fridge or anything else that's that will stick, so that you have your messaging in their home all the time. So that's the last day on that. So if you're interested in that, make sure you visit bdmhvac.com today and place that order. The other thing I wanted to mention is that this presentation is going to be made available to you if there are people in your office that weren't able to make the webinar this morning. We'll have both the presentation in PDF form for you to look at, and also a replay of the video as well. So let's see if there are some questions here for Marjorie and Lisa. Okay, here's the first question. What is the best content to include on our Facebook page for HVAC companies?
You know, lots of things. Company news. Again, if you hired someone new, if you brought in a new technician, that's a great place to put it. And it doesn't have to be, you know, very long. The longer it is, the less likely people are going to read it. So bring in someone new, say just, you know, welcome to Jim Smith. He's going to be our new technician, blah, blah, blah. He comes to us from Minot, North Dakota. So that's it. And then maybe post a picture on there, because, again, the people love graphics, video, photos. So put the text on there and put a photo or video. Customer testimonials. Encourage people to post testimonials on your Facebook page, because they can comment directly on your wall. You can do a customer profile. If you offer commercial HVAC services, then you can profile a particular business that you've helped. Another one is if you have a blog, that's great. If you don't have a blog, you can look for third-party content. There's tons out there on the internet that let's say tips on how to maintain your heating and air conditioning unit through the winter or through the summer, and post that on Facebook, and maybe with your own comment. And then, of course, a call to action at the end. If you have any questions, please call us, or if you need us to check in or service your AC unit, please give us a call or send us a message. So lots of different things you can do in order to, to populate the content on your Facebook page. And you don't have to do it very often. 2 or 3 times a week is enough.
Okay, here's another question. How often should you post on a blog?
Ideally, twice a week. And I know there's probably a lot of you thinking, what? No way. That's ideally, at least twice a week. But the most important thing really is not so much the frequency as it is your commitment. a lot of companies, a lot of people start blogs, and then the 80% of blogs are abandoned within 30 days after they start. So the best way to ensure that it's not abandoned is to think about what you want your blog to accomplish. Do you want to offer it as just primarily company news? Do you want to do it as a forum for customers to to showcase your customers? Do you want to offer it as an educational forum? Whatever you want it to be. Determine what you want to write about, who's going to write it, how often, whether it's once a week or once every 2 weeks, and then create a calendar for the next 30 days or 2 months. It doesn't have to be the whole blog post. Even titles will work, just to help you jog your memory, so that you're not sitting there wondering what to write about and your deadline's in half an hour. So ideally twice a week, but if you can even do it once a week or once every 2 weeks. At the maximum length, that's fine. As it's really more committing to do it on a regular basis for the long haul.
Marjorie, do you have any ideas on how I can get more likes on my Facebook page?
The number one thing is, are you putting a link to your Facebook page on your website? A lot of companies forget to do that. So put that Facebook logo on your homepage. Make it big but not too unobtrusive. And then on your business cards, put your Facebook URL on there. On any emails that you send out, if you send out any email marketing, put it on all your postcard marketing. Don't just put the Facebook logo, put the actual URL. It used to be that you had to have at least 25 likes on your Facebook page in order to create a custom URL like facebook.com/businessdirectmarketing. But now you only have to have 1 like. So make sure that you have a custom URL that people remember, like facebook.com/Dallas HVAC repair, that sort of thing, and put it on all your marketing collateral. And if you have any other marketing channel, invite them to come to Facebook. And then lastly, if you ask your friends, I'm sure most of you have a Facebook profile, ask your friends to like your page on Facebook.
Okay, here's another question. What do I do if I just don't have time to manage a blog or social media page, Facebook page?
You can hire us. Seriously, you can hire a third-party company. There are many, many third-party companies out there who can do that for you. For a number of budgets. So, just you can talk to us about it afterwards, and we can tell you all about how we can help you beef up your social media presence, your blog presence, and really use it to drive traffic back to your website and to your business.
Okay, let's take one final question before we wrap up here. It's one for Lisa. What types of things can QR codes be printed on? Lisa there?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm here. You can print QR codes on your business cards. You can put them on all of your mailers. You put them on door hangers, so when they pick it up off their door, basically anywhere in print. I've even seen them on yard signs, and the only challenge with a yard sign is the consumer would have to be relatively close for it to, they can just drive by and snap a shot of it. But maybe they're out walking their dog in the neighborhood and you're doing an installation. They don't remember if they just click that QR and now all of a sudden you're captured in their mobile phone. So just think about all of the key components that you have. Newspaper ads, great place to put those, and have them come back with some kind of offering, maybe a service offering or something that is going to make them want to hang on to that into their smartphone.
Great. Thank you so much. I think that's the last question that we have. So as a reminder, a copy of this presentation will be made available. Look for an email in your inbox. And if you have any questions about social media and cross-media campaigns and how you can work that into your marketing plans, please feel free to give us a call, 1-800-982-9862, or shoot Lisa an email at lisaj@businessdirect.com. We'd love to hear from you and see what your challenges are and how we can work through them so that you can have a really successful 2012. Thank you again so much for your time, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.